The next candidate that you'll hear from is Nicole Jones Wadsworth. You're in a crowded field for lieutenant governor, and I really just wanted to start with 7 candidates. What are you bringing to this race that's unique to you?
Sure. So I'm a proud member of the private sector, and everything that I'm advocating for, I've already done, either through my company, through board or committee service, or as an individual. Over the past 20 years, I've been able to visit all 67 counties over 25 times on my own money before ever entering this race. And no matter where I've been around the state, the same 5 key issues have kept coming up. So I've devised a plan called Build a Better Alabama, where I want to utilize the office of Lieutenant Governor to improve the quality of life for Alabamians in the areas of industry recruitment and retention, workforce development, statewide infrastructure improvements, rural health care, and public safety. Those touch everybody around our state, no matter where you live.
So the state legislature did restrict some of the powers of the lieutenant governor going into next legislative session, but what experiences do you have that you feel would be important to being one of the leaders in the state legislature in less than a year now?
Sure. So I've always been in leadership roles throughout my career. I've actually brought hundreds of millions of dollars worth of industry to our state. I know how to think, I know how to talk to people, and I'm not tied down to the political games that unfortunately sometimes you see in Montgomery. As you said, the lieutenant governor's role was further stripped of its power last week. By statute, you preside over the Senate, you vote in case of a tie, you make some appointments, but you do need a lieutenant governor who has the professionalism and the demeanor to be able to steady the ship if something should happen ever to our governor. And as you know, that's happened a time or two in Alabama history, and I'm ready to step in those shoes if needed.
We're about to see changes in a lot of key roles here in Alabama, whether that's we'll see if it's a party shift, but for now at least, the person who is in the governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, attorney general, a lot of key roles. What changes do you hope to bring to your role, and what do you think has or has not worked in this role?
Well, I think the most important thing that I'm wanting to do is put Alabamians on a pathway to employment. Workforce development is central to my campaign. Why? Because when Alabamians are working, we all benefit. It keeps people off welfare, it reduces crime, and it gives a man or a woman a sense of purpose by being able to pay for something with a paycheck that he or she has earned. So as Lieutenant Governor, I want to use my voice and partner with our high schools, our trade schools, our community colleges, and our universities to put folks on a pathway to employment. We're very, very blessed in the state of Alabama to have a diverse amount of industries. We have aerospace, aviation, agriculture, food production, forestry, chemicals, metals, biotechnology, defense. All of these areas can employ our own people if they have the skill set that employers need. So let's do that, and we can solve a lot of these societal issues.
I've seen on your website, and I just wanted to ask, because President Trump has endorsed somebody else in this race, and for the Alabamians who feel that that endorsement is important, what is your message to them about your candidacy given that he has endorsed someone else?
Well, to be frank, sometimes some races are who can out-Trump one another. I have a tremendous amount of respect for President Trump. I've actually volunteered for all 3 of his campaigns, including 2 deployments to battleground states. In 2024 in the Atlanta Metro, I won top door knocker with his campaign at 400 doors a day. That's boots on the ground. My husband, who's a state legislator, was also one of the first 4 legislators in the country to endorse the president. So I have a feeling there's probably several candidates in this race with ties to the president. Again, still respect him. That doesn't change. And Alabamians know that I've worked for Trump, and I still want to put America first.
I want to give you the chance to respond to something that came up when you declared your candidacy for lieutenant governor, and those were questions on your credentials. What do you want voters to know about that, and what would you want to clarify to them?
That's pure libel. People have to understand in the state of Alabama that unfortunately there is a plethora of pay-to-play blogs masquerading as news that are owned and operated by political consultants and operatives who are either actively representing candidates in my race or are tied to people giving money to candidates in my race. They're not governed by the FCC like y'all are in television and radio. So my husband, again, being an attorney, we all learned the hard way that there are no laws put in place and no procedural safeguards to protect the public from online blogs masquerading as news. If you're a bank, you can't go and say, hey, I'm a bank, and put that in your business name. But if you're an online blog, you can. So unfortunately, some of the blogs that I've never spoken to just decided to make up stories and put them on the internet. And consider that I've been interviewed hundreds of times about economic policy and projects and stuff that's going on great in the state of Alabama over the course of my career, because I enter a race and there's other candidates that don't want me in it and you have to resort to those tactics. That's shameful, and that should never ever happen to anybody. And you've got to be in a special place in life to be able to withstand that type of libel.
I know I said it at the beginning, but 7 candidates is a lot. Republican voters and people who are voting on the Republican ticket are going to have a lot of decisions to make here. So if somebody's asking, why should I trust you with my vote in this Republican primary, what is your message to them?
I think the biggest thing is that I'm not tied down to the political games that you often see in Montgomery. I bring private sector experience. Everything that I'm advocating for, I've already done over the course of my career. I'm also pro-life, pro-faith, pro-Second Amendment. I've served on numerous boards and committees in the areas of business, philanthropy, and conservative causes. I'm a former board member of the Alabama Federation of Republican Women. I volunteered for the Trump campaign for all 3 of his campaigns. But I can also be independent enough to stand on my 2 feet and not have to pivot off of the endorsement of a certain person or a certain group. My heart is the 5.1 million people in Alabama. I want to see our state shine. I want to see Alabama first in quality of life, first in job recruitment and retention, first in a place where people want to live and be proud of. That's what I want for our state.